voice clearly?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya. Sarvamangala Mangalya Varenyam Vardham Shubham Narayana Namaskritya Sarvakarmani Karaya. So, shall we start with the session, or do you want to ask any questions for clarification of the previous class?
Yes, masters. Do you have any questions that you have with regards to the sessions that we had with master? Please to your Okay, masters. If there are no
Yeah.
questions, then we'll take the questions towards the end. Then. Thank you.
Okay. I'll share my screen. So we had finished the first column. The second column, the process of manifestation of happiness and 5 laws of happiness, we'll try to finish in the next 2 days. So basically, till now, to briefly summarize, we need to understand that the worldly happiness that we experience is limited. It is limited in 2 layers. The first layer is it depends on the external events, circumstances, and objects. Second one is it is limited by our own mind. So these are the 2 basic drawbacks if you want to bet on worldly happiness. Upon that, there are many consequences when you start overly depending on worldly happiness. You may get attached to them. You may get you may be compulsive to them. Many cases are there that you end up more restless than you were when you start depending on worldly happiness. So how actually the worldly happiness manifests in our mind, that we'll see today. Then we'll start the 5 laws of happiness. So the process of manifestation of happiness, we have seen this. So it is the bliss of Atman which reflects in the Satvika state of individual's mind, even though Atman, which is the reality of every individual, is of the nature of eternal bliss. An individual experiences misery and infatuation, or so-called happiness, due to the Rajasika and Tamasika states of his mind. So we need to have one firm faith that Atman exists. We are all potentially divine. Atman exists. We may not experience it if we just discuss it, but by practice, you may start experiencing it. But with faith only, we need to tread this path of spirituality. Okay. And so how does it manifest? Let us see. So it is said in Taittiriya Upanishad, that which is known as the self-creator is verily the source of joy. That is your Atman. It creates this entire world. So that verily is the source of joy. For one becomes happy by coming in contact with that source of joy. That is why it is called Satchit Ananda. Ananda exists there. Okay. All the schools may not agree, but Advaita school agrees on it. According to the Vedantists, Atman alone can be comfortable and loving thing in the world for a wise man due to its blissful nature. So even in uh, many Upanishads, it is said that Atman is the only source of joy. So how actually, let us see diagrammatically. So I had finished this levels of happiness the happiness that we experience on in the worldly plane, limited by the your karma, that is the objects that will become available to you at the right time. And also it is limited by our own mind. Even if you get the most covetable objects, but if you don't have a mind that is uh, able to receive it, then you will not be able to experience the happiness. So two things are so important in if you want to experience happiness. But there are consequences, a price to pay also. So basically, let us see here that tamas, rajas, and sattva are the three states of mind, and Atman is shining through them. Actually, even Shankaracharya wanted to say this idea only, that in every action, in every experience, in every perception, the light of Atman shines through. But we are unable to see it. We are unable to experience it firsthand. But a mind which is sharpened, focused, and knows where to see it will see it. So even like now I'm talking to you, you're seeing this laptop or mobile. Even when seeing anything, it is because the light of Atman that shines, that is why you're able to see it. But we are so accustomed to see the outside world that we fail to see the inside world. It's like there's a nice story that I feel mm, there's this Muslim uh, mystic. Okay, so uh, he had lost his key, and he was searching it outside his house. Then a passerby comes along, and he sees, oh, oh, what are you searching? So then he says, I'm searching my key. So then he asks, where have you lost it? And he says, I've lost it inside my house. Then why are you searching it in outside your house? Then he says, because the light is there outside. Okay, just because the light is outside, we are accustomed to we are so addicted to experience only worldly happiness. We never want to see the happiness that is shining through all these layers, all the states of mind, all the layers of mind. Okay, we fail to see that. But trust me, in every experience, Atman does shine through. Yeah, Mullah Nasruddin. True. Right. Thank you. So this is our basically our state that we exist in. So we can see in the left hand side that Atman shines through all the states, tamas, rajas, and sattva. Basically, as I said, these states are basically, one is more restless than the other. Sattva is the least restless one. Okay, Brahmananda is beyond mind itself. Don't think that Ishwarananda and Parabhakti, you are above mind. That also there is some kind of mind, that you may say that that is some kind of still less restless mind. You can say this is the state. Okay, again there are sub levels and all, but you can understand that they're comparatively lesser and lesser restless. So it is like Atman, when shining through the least restless mind, is basically the experience of happiness is more permanent compared to the previous state. It lasts for longer time. See, every as I said, Vedanta never says that there is no happiness in worldly happiness. There is happiness, but they say it is temporary and there are side effects. What are the side effects? Suppose uh, these things below, food, sex, power, and all, they do give you happiness, but they are temporary. They last for just a few moments or hours. So but you experience, see, whenever you experience any kind of happiness, the mind for that period becomes shanta, calm, peaceful. It does come to sattvic states of happiness. Again it falls down. So suppose you're addicted to cocaine or LSD, or suppose all these so-called, you do experience a very transcendental state of happiness. You do experience that out of body experiences. If you taste any, if you had experience of any drugs or even booze, so basically at that particular level, you get tremendous happiness. It's not that you don't get it, but the side effects is after you are out of that particular high, you end up more restless than you were. Okay, you know, the cocaine addiction, the rehabilitation rate is just 4%. Just having once, if you have tasted cocaine, you can't come out of that addiction. There's just 4% rehabilitation rate. You're like addicted for life. And what happens whenever you have any of these so-called drugs, or you can say any of these worldly happens, it's not that only bad things are end in bad things. Even whatever you call sleep, power, name and fame, whenever you experience this recognition, you get that sattvic states. Even in, if you see in psychology, it is like something called as the when two axons fire in between the neural pathways, that it particularly inhibitors are given so that there is no firing, there is no connection between two axons. So basically mind becomes shanta, it is as though it is disconnected, and that is why the light of atman shines in that particular state and you experience high states of happiness. But when it wears away, when the so-called dependency on a particular chemical wears away, you the nerve, there is nervous breakdown, you end up an invalid person. So that is the consequence. It's not that uh, uh, we should not experience worldly happiness, but a wise man understands the consequences and does not bet on it, does not rely on it. He tries to find a different route, a route from inside, so that he can experience those higher states without any kind of consequence and side effects. So that basically is a um, overview of how actually, when they say that bliss is within, how it manifests. This is how it manifests. Okay, it manifests on the medium is mind itself, but a mind which is less restless, which is sattvic. Okay, then Brahmananda is just beyond mind also. So they say that all knowledge is Vritti knowledge in Patanjali Suktam. Ekame Vidarshanam, Khyatime Vidarshanam, they say. So all knowledge is based on mind itself, but the states of mind vary. Okay, but our goal is to go beyond mind also. Understand that. That is where real happiness lies. That is absolutely non-dependency. When you don't depend on anything, there is absolutely no fear. There is just pure existence. There is just pure happiness. That's all. So before getting into the laws directly, I just wanted to give a very brief introduction. I want to finish this fast so that we are both on the same page and we're starting from the same page. Everybody here, I feel, has an idea or of basic understanding of consciousness, spirituality and all, but still just to so that we both are on the same page and we start from the same place and there's no confusion between my understanding and your understanding. Let me just briefly take you through some basic fundamental concepts of spirituality. I'll just finish it fast, but in between, if you have any questions, just stop me and ask and clarify it. Okay, so basically in Vedanta, human personality is trichotomous, but according to Western philosophy, sciences and all, it is dichotomous. Okay, we should have a very clear understanding of this. Body, mind and spirit, we divide it. We in fact, body and mind, we say both are material. We say that they are jada. Spirit, we say Chaitanya is only conscious thing. Everything other than spirit is unconscious. We don't have any doubt in this. There is no some kind of argument in this or some kind of uh, uh, explanation that I need to give. It is just plainly taken as an experience that the rishis have experienced and this is what they have shared. Okay, they start with this. But in according to Western sciences, there is only two things. They say there is body and mind. In mind only there is something called as higher mind, which they call it as spirit. Okay, and there is lower mind. Lower mind is your mind which experiences things and has memories and emotions and all these things. Okay, uh, so this clear distinction is there, and let us start from this point. Okay, so they say, Western sciences say, I think that is why I exist. For Vedanta, this is completely opposite. I exist, that is why I think. We never care about the mind. Mind thinks or does not think. The spirit does not care. It is objectless. Mind is an object for it, but by its real nature, spirit by real nature, consciousness, Chaitanya, Chit, whatever you may use these words, Atman, Brahman, it is contentless. Okay, there's no content in it. And one more thing, why people, it is difficult for them to understand Chaitanya, this objectless awareness or objectless consciousness, is because we are intentional thinkers. We can never live without any intention. It is very difficult to put this particular ideas across people, is because we always live in an intentional plane. There's always an intention before we act, before we think, before we experience anything. Intention is always behind all these three things. But consciousness, that is why it is called intentionless consciousness. There is no intention like that. Consciousness does not have an intention, oh, I should make this world, I should create this world, I should make these laws of karma, laws of sacrifice. It does not have any kind of intention like that. It just exists. That's all. It's absolute existence itself. Okay, and it's absolute consciousness. What is consciousness? Also, we'll see later. So there are four great sentences. They're called Mahavakyas. So each one is from a different Veda. Okay, Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, Samaveda, and all these things. So basically, let me just read out it to you. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Atma Brahman, Tattvamasi, and Prajnanam Brahma. I am Brahman, I am Atman, I am spirit. The self is Brahman. You, your ego, your real core inside you is actually Brahman, is actually spirit. That's what they want to say. Tattvamasi, that you are. Here, that means consciousness, Atman, Brahman, spirit. You are that. So you can see in the first three statements that there is only pointing towards what it is. Okay, this, you are that, you are this. They're like similes and metaphors, but they are not telling you what is the nature of Brahman. Okay, they are not, क्या है वो Brahman बोले तो क्या, self बोले तो क्या, that means what. These things they are not telling. They're just telling that you are this, you are it. But only in the fourth statement, Prajnana Brahma. What is Brahman? It is consciousness. Okay, Brahman is consciousness. They have described it, the nature they have described only in the fourth sentence. So let us try to investigate little more. So let us understand this Mahavakya a little more clearly. So so they say the nature of ultimate spirit consciousness. Even they use the word truth. Nagarjuna in the 11th century, so he has written a huge thesis about, if you want to say anything as truth, it should fulfill two conditions. If you say this is true, Baba, this is the true thing, so this is the real thing, if you want to use such words, he said it should satisfy two conditions. One is it should be non-contradictory, that is, it should not change. The quality should not change after some time. It should remain constant throughout, and it should be permanent. When you say this such a thing exists, it should not disappear later, or it should not decay, or it should not die. It should exist permanently. So after investigation, you may think about it. Is there anything in our own experience that we can say is permanent and does not change? Both conditions simultaneously it should satisfy. Do you know anything like that? So you can answer this question in chat or verbally. You can unmute and answer also. It should satisfy both the conditions, that वो change भी नहीं होना है, and it should not even contradict. It should not be temporary. So from the worldly point of view, nothing exists like that. Okay. Okay, these two are the very core, okay, of the nature of spirit, the very core of the nature of spirit. This you should not forget. You may forget other attributes, does not matter, but understand this too is very important. Okay, that it is permanent, it does not change. Okay, and it is a source of consciousness. What is consciousness? We'll try to see it later. It's a source of happiness also, and it is independent. This independent is also a very important factor. It is causeless. There is nobody has caused it, nobody has uh, created it. It exists. World is created from it, but by don't again fall into that redundant loop that okay, if world is caused by spirit, then who has caused the spirit? There's nothing that who has caused. Then you end up in a redundant loop. There is no end to this loop. Who has caused the cause of the spirit? Who has caused the cause of the spirit? Like that it goes on. So it is exists, and in that this creation is formed. Okay, it creates. So it is independent. Okay, it is, it exists. Okay, it's a separate entity. समझ जाओ कि वो separate entity है. It has nothing, it has absolutely nothing to do with your uh, any kind of this creation. Okay, it is independent, it is separate hai wo. Because of our ignorance, uh, we are overly focused on its creation, not the creator. It is like, suppose imagine you're a fish in an aquarium, or you're a fish in a huge lake. Okay, what does the fish do? The fish always is searching for the next meal, or it is escaping its enemy by hiding somewhere. Okay, it's always like that. It's always thinking about food, procreation, sleep, basic instincts. It is living in that particular level of existence. But just imagine all together, the fish comes to know that it exists in water. Okay, see, even though it is living in water, it is not aware of the water. It is so busy in eating, in survival itself. Okay, we are also like that. We are extremely busy in survival mode, or some kind of mode of recognition, name, fame, some kind of research, intellectual work. We are extremely busy. We have never tried to see that the source of this so-called existence itself. So it is independent. Never try to mix it with the so-called creation. Okay, causeless, it exists. Okay, just take it for granted. If we don't know it, that doesn't mean that it does not exist. Shri Ramakrishna used to say, just because you cannot see the moon does not mean that moon does not exist. Moon exists. Okay, but you cannot see it because of the sun. What is sun here? uh, what I mean here is, because of our ignorance, you are not able to see that independent spirit. Okay. So a little zooming out a little, trying to understand it from still higher perspective than individual personality itself, because we need to know where we stand in this creation. Okay. Uh, we need to generalize things. We need to stand on a vantage point and try to see where exactly, how exactly it is happening. I know you have studied this, but just to give a very short, brief introduction. So suppose this is a triangle. There is spirit, there is this world, aapka jagat, and human personality, you and me. Okay, this is a triangle. This triangle, we need to have a strong understanding and the relationship between each. Okay, there is a relationship between human personality and spirit, human personality and the world and the spirit, world and human personality. This relationship also we need to understand. So I'm not going to go too much in depth. I'm just going to give a superficial view. So truth, spirit, it exists. Okay, as I said, you may not have experienced it, but it does not mean that it does not exist. It exists. Okay, there's as I said, it is permanent. The auxiliary of permanent, it does not change. Okay, or it is there, it exists. It is non-vibrational. Change means vibration, non-change is, or unchange is non-vibrational. Oh, there's energy is not there in it. It is, see, they say prana, energy, or many words they use, Shakti in Kashmir Shaivism or any tantras. So all these, see, they say they don't deny it. Okay, they never understand that they deny world. Nobody denies this world. Maya basically means it is non-temporary. It is temporary. That's all. Don't think that it just vanishes and all. Nothing vanishes here. You and me are experiencing each other. You are experiencing your computers. You're experiencing your sons, wives, all the happiness, worldly happiness. Don't think that it is unreal. Just it is temporary. Okay. So okay. So prana or shakti or energy, they say, is satya. They give its due importance, but they say consciousness, awareness, spirit, and all these words, they say satya se satyam. It is more truer than this particular satya, which is your energy. Okay, by nature it is calm, peaceful, happy. It's a source of creation itself. It's a source of awareness. Okay, let us uh, right now take it for granted. Later, uh, if you practice any disciplines, you will start experiencing these qualities when you start going nearer and nearer to it. Okay, so world is nothing but a dynamic activity of energy and matter. Basically, this is self-explanatory. We have studied in our schools and colleges that even right now they have come to, the science has come to this level that everything is energy, even matter itself is energy. So that let us not have any kind of doubt in this. So it is vibrational. Energy is nothing but vibration. So then human personality, they say, is a combination. Actually, it's not a combination, but let us, because we have uh, uh, we do experience this, and this is how we need to understand it if we want to go to the higher level, because we are seeing it from bottom up. Okay, we can't just take it, I am Brahman, like that. You can't stand if you are a seeker. Okay, that comes only when you have got what you have seeking. Okay, so right now let us take it for granted that it is a combination of both spirit and matter. Is a dynamic energy and matter plus static pure awareness. It's combination. Okay, it's just, let us start from this particular point of view. So just to explain it in a more visual way, physical body is there. Think as a lantern, the outer frills and the paper and all. Then behind it, there is a mental body. And inside it, that is your spiritual core, your spiritual body. Um, okay, it is like the tungsten inside the glass bulb. Okay, so this is how we can visualize it, just for getting the impression, a strong impression of how actually our personality in layers it exists according to Vedanta. Okay, so one more analogy, you must have seen this Russian dolls. The outermost doll is your physical body, inside mental body, inside the spiritual body. And as I said, the spirit shines through all these particular levels of being. Okay, still more divisions are there. Okay, we can say Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. I'll come to that later, but basic, let us divide it to three divisions. Okay, so as I said, mind borrows this consciousness. It is jada, it is unconscious. It is just like a log of wood. Trust me, it's not like so uh, gross. Also, it is very subtle. But understand it that by we have no confusion. Vedantists don't have any confusion. There is no any kind of doubt here. We clearly tell that mind is material. Okay, or energy, whatever you may call it, does not matter for them. It is jada, it is unconscious by nature. The only conscious entity that exists is consciousness. Okay, only, it is the only entity that exists. Okay, suppose moon does not have the light of its own. Okay, it borrows the light. Similarly, mind does not have the light of its own. It does not have its own consciousness. It borrows the consciousness of the spirit. Okay, it is not Swayam Prakasha. Swayam Prakasha means self-luminous. It's not self-luminous. Mind is not self-luminous. Mind just borrows the light. It is very subtle. That is why it is able to borrow it. Okay, on the grosser material uh, temperaments or grosser material objects, the light of consciousness does not shine so purely as much as it shines in a human mind. That is why it is great to get a human birth, because it shines more clearly in a human mind. It shines more prominently. Okay? But understand that it's not its own light. But we confuse it. What is ignorance? Confusing that this light is my light. Okay, you have the audacity to say that I am conscious. You are not conscious. The spirit is consciousness. Okay, you are conscious because of its magnanimity, its gregariosity. Okay, it allows you to use its light to experience this beautiful world. Okay, it, because of its light, you're able to experience, you're able to know things, you're able to do things. All this doership, knowership, experiencership, you'll be able to do it because of the light that is shining behind you. So again, coming to consciousness a little bit more. So just so that we can get it, we can start from the same place. So try to participate in this particular discussion. We are right now, just say yes or no. Are you conscious of my sound? A simple yes or no. You can even chat. Yes, great. So you're conscious of my sound. You're conscious of the screen before you. You're conscious if there is an incense burning in your room, you'll be conscious of that smell of the aroma. If there, then if somebody touches you, or right now there is a particular temperature in your room, or you may just um, touch something, you're conscious of that particular object, the texture, the particular room temperature. So similarly, if I give you something to taste, or if you're drinking coffee while listening to this particular uh, session, are you conscious of the taste of the coffee? Yes, maybe. Okay, this all is a hypothetical situation. So all these five senses you are conscious of. Okay, you're conscious of this, but you are not conscious of consciousness itself. Okay, you're not conscious of consciousness itself. You're conscious of the objects of this so-called experiential world. Okay, so now why we do mistake it as mind is conscious? Suppose, let us do a social experiment. I want you to close your eyes. So now if I ask you to imagine your mother or your daughter or anybody close, so are you conscious of their image that comes in your mind's eye? So yes, if you use your imaginative faculty more powerfully, if I tell you to,
Yes, yes,
yes,
yes.
okay, if that particular person whom you're imagining, your blood relation, if she calls you, if your wife calls you, mother calls you, son calls you, will you be able to recognize his voice? Will you be able to be conscious of his particular tone of voice?
Yes.
Yes, yes. So next, if try to use your imagination uh, to its best full capacity. Suppose she creates your most favorite dish to eat, he or she, your parents or your children or your spouses. So can you recollect the taste of it? Will you be able to be conscious or be aware of the particular taste of your favorite dish? You
Yes.
should, yes, you should use your imaginative power here. Okay, it does not come so easily. So then the aroma of the particular dish.
Yes.
Yes. So if your parents have hugged you, or your children, your wife, your spouses have hugged you, given you a nice warm kiss, so even that you'll be able to experience it. Okay. And this happens even in dreams. The same thing happens. Okay, it is just nothing but your mind trying to re-recognize the things that you've experienced in your experiential waking state. So that is why we say, usually have this idea that mind is conscious. That is how it Western sciences understand. They don't attribute this consciousness to a separate entity called spirit. Because we experience all this in the mind, naturally they come to a conclusion, Baba, mind is conscious. There's nothing else other than mind. It comes to that level. That is where they have stopped. There's nothing more to that they have come to. Psychology has come to that conclusion. There's nothing more to mind. Mind by nature is conscious. How we say mind by nature is unconscious, it borrows the light of the spirit. Similarly, they have no confusion in this. They say mind is consciousness because we experience everything in mind naturally. So why should I attribute this awareness, consciousness factor to something different? Okay, so that is where they have come. But we don't start from that point. We totally like discard this particular conclusion itself of theirs because we don't trust in our mind. We trust in the minds of saints, of rishis who have discovered this particular level of truth. Okay, so that's how we start. So just again to give you a visual view of how we understand consciousness. So consciousness exists in that this world creation takes place. You and me are there. Even mind is there in consciousness. We are like some rasgullas, some kind of um, uh, gulab jamun, this particular sweet. I hope you have tasted. We are like that. We are like dipped in this sugar syrup. What is the sugar syrup? The sugar syrup is consciousness. We all exist, we all live, we all die in spirit only. Okay, there's nothing, you can't escape this. It is like ever present. You can't put off the light of spirit. It exists always, but it's not something like a sun, a small entity. It is all pervading. It is there everywhere. Okay, it's just there like an ocean, and we are like small bubbles. We come, we exist, we play, we interact, we procreate, and we experience, do something, know something, and we perish. It's like that. So where does the mind come into this picture? So this consciousness plus mind, as I said, mind is a jada, is an unconscious element. Okay, what it does something. कुछ काम करता है वो, काम करने के लिए. It cannot stop doing work. We are compulsory to do work. That is why we should do some work. There is some purpose, like how the heart's purpose is to beat, the mango tree's purpose is to give mangoes. Similarly, man, we have particular purposes. Some people work as a doctor, some people work as an engineer, some people work as a cleaner, some people work as a their particular professions. They do something. Okay, they know something. Okay, they knower. It's called a karta, ज्ञाता, भोक्ता. ज्ञाता means वो कुछ जानता है वो ये दुनिया के बारे में. If you are more introspective, you will know about the spirit also. It's your choice what you want to know. And as I said, knowledge depends on the mind. Okay, consciousness does not depend on the mind. You need a mind to know things, but consciousness does not need a mind by itself. It is full by itself. Oh hey, oh exist. Mind hai ya nahi hai, but so if you ask me the question, so we don't need a mind to experience consciousness. We need a mind to experience consciousness, but when you experience it, you go beyond the mind itself. Okay, it is like Sri Ramakrishna should tell, a salt doll goes to measure the depth of the ocean, but when he is going, what is a salt doll? Your mind wants to see what consciousness is, so he becomes the ocean. Similarly, dissolves or expands, whatever words you can use. It is not that you become, it exists. Okay, so similarly, it is like mind is like a torch. So will you take, what happens when you take a torch to see the sun? It's something like that. Okay, its light completely is pervaded by the light of the sun. It's like that. Okay, so bhokta, it experiences things, happiness, sadness, loss, profit, all this emotions it experiences. So who experiences this? It's the mind that experiences. Consciousness is like a passive entity. Okay? Passive means don't think that shunya, it void. There's nothing called as void, shunya and all, because the argument is basically from void, shunya, nothingness, world cannot come out of it. So it exists. Okay, it's a beautiful entity. It is a very conscious entity. So it exists. Okay? From that, this beautiful world has come out, and it stays there and it goes back. As simple as it. So consciousness plus mind is your conscious mind. So don't ever think that this light of consciousness will be off. Even in sleep, consciousness exists. That is why if consciousness didn't exist, you would not come out of sleep and say, I had a good sleep. Okay, this good bad sleep, these words you should not use. Okay, It is the element, the firmament of mind that is tired. It is not able to um, reflect the light of consciousness. It just switches off, but the light is always there.
Sir, you are
Yeah.
saying that the consciousness is detached from the
Yes,
mind.
it's an entity. It is entity by itself. It is detached entity. Good
Okay.
understand. Yes,
Okay.
it's an entity by itself. So similarly, now what these Vedantists say when they say Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, or I am Atma Brahma, or Tattvamasi, all these words, basically they try to identify with your more fuller nature of yours, try to identify with a more non-dependent nature of yours, and independent and non-contradictory nature of yours. Don't try to bet your happiness on mind. Mind by nature is contradictory. It changes. It gets tired. It has so many whims and fancies. When you start depending on your mind for happiness, it will let you down. They don't have any doubt in it. So they directly conclude that bet if you want real happiness, try to find it in consciousness. Don't try to find in the world outside or in the mind. So even if you say that, okay, I'll take electric shocks every day and I'll experience that river of reward, that great happiness. What happens is, it is just like, as I said, being dependent on cocaine or any kind of LSD or any kind of this. They do get you into a very high level of consciousness, very high level of happiness. But the consequences, it ultimately leaves you an invalid person. You become a nervous wreck. You turn up worse than what you were experienced. The first time you may experience, then you start getting your toleration levels high levels of toleration. 1 gram of cocaine, little recognition, a little food, one wife, uh, some $100,000 per year. This is not making you happiness. You need more now. 150, 3 wives. You need more power, more recognition, more grams of the chemical substances. And what happens now, since the toleration of your mind increases, the side effect is the very medium becomes wrecked. Your mind itself becomes wrecked, and you end up more restless than what you were before. So that is the consequence. That is why they say, just check it, don't bet on it. So this is how they understand it. So coming into one more nature, that is limitless nature. It exists. Consciousness just imagined as a light. That is why light is the best example they give, because light is no, light is completely detached, as you said. It is just imagine a street lamp or the light above your uh, head. So it does not really care what you do. Okay, the street lamp, who does what under the street lamp? Consciousness or spirit is actually unbothered. So it is like, if somebody helps also, it gives light. If somebody murders or does any bad activity also, it gives light. It does not say, oh, I will give you light only if you uh, manufacture vaccines, if you manufacture drugs or the arms, I'll not give you light. It does not have any, it does not choose anything like that. Okay, it just is, it exists. What you do with that light is your botheration, is your choice. It does not have any say in it. It exists. It is conscious by nature. Okay, it's unchanging, it's non-vibrational, it's permanent. So don't think it is somewhere up, like your light in the ceiling or some sun or some kind of air or petrol. uh, okay, it's not somewhere out. Okay, it is in and through everything. It is like all pervading. It pervades. It's wrap and roof in every item that you can imagine, even from a small atom to the biggest of biggest galaxies. So it is transcendent and imminent. Dono hai wo. Okay, you are so obsessed with the creation, that's our problem, but by its nature it is there. All that we have to do is turn our mind inwards and try to recognize that, experience that, which gives us more long lasting happiness. And it is completely non-dependent. Okay, so all they say, try to identify yourself with that entity called consciousness, which exists in and through everything. Don't try to identify yourself with your beauty, your property, your name and fame, your inflated egos. Stop identifying with all these dependent things. By nature, they change. By nature, they contradict. Try to identify with something which is permanent, non-contradictory, and source of happiness itself. See, even happiness, when they say, see, basically, you can understand it like when something does not vibrate or something, it is calm. Can we understand it something like this? So too much noise, when the noise stops, don't you feel a sense of calm? It is something like that. Okay? That is why they say, by nature, it is happiness. There's no vibration in it. So, yeah. So physical body is there, your mental body is there, your spiritual body is there. Physical body depends on health, environment, comfort, beauty, things like this. Do you think anything is permanent here? Health, environment, comfort, beauty, or they don't change its nature? Everything, yes. So all this by nature is contradictory. Yeah, it is impermanent. So they say don't depend on it, or physical body does depend on it. And the sad part is physical body itself by itself is contradictory and impermanent. Okay, that is the more stranger part. Okay, things outside may be impermanent, but is your body itself permanent? Is your body itself, do you can you say that it does not change? You must have seen the change, how volatile it is when you're children, when you're uh, uh, teenagers, now adulthood, old age, body keeps on changing by nature. That itself, you can't bet on it. So forget betting on things outside. So that is, we are so dependent on things outside for the preservation of our body. Mental body, that also depends on so many things. Your emotions should be good, your mood should be good, then only you feel I'm good. Wealth, fame, talents also a little contradictory subject, because we spend all our life trying to get a particular skill itself is impermanent, they say. Suppose there is, you're the best marketing uh, so-called professional. So now if you're in Ukraine, uh, you're in a war-torn zone, what is the use of your talent? There is recession. So much variables come into picture when you start depending on things outside. By nature, they change. So why depend on them? That's what the argument goes. Vedantists understand. They try to discriminate. That is called viveka, discrimination. The wise always discriminate constantly. And they try to choose the permanent. That is why after karya viveka, that is what to do and what not to do, there comes something called as nitya viveka. What is permanent, what is impermanent. Okay. Then what is chit achit, what is conscious, unconscious. Then what is sat asat, that is what is real, what is unreal. These are the levels of discrimination. But let me start with first viveka, that is what to do and what not to do. Who tells you this, what to do and what not to do? So usually we get this instruction by our parents, our teachers, or society. They live in a very low level of understanding of this world. So that is why I try to get these answers from your shastras, from realized souls, what they say, what to do and what not to do. Of course, in physical level, you can listen to some scientists. In mental level, you can listen to some kind of psychologists. But when it comes to spiritual, kindly don't trust in their knowledge. So mental body, upon that, by nature, mind itself is so uh, contradictory. It changes, it's so flimsy, it flips. See, you can't experience a particular thing for a long time also. That is why so many varieties you need of the same thing. Food, 100 ice creams, 100 food items, 100 film shows, 100 cars. Like, so much variety we need. It is so chanchal, they say. It is so, it flips. Okay. So mind itself is like that. Forget it's what it depends on. Okay. Then comes the spiritual body, or your spirit, Pratyekatman Atman, you may call it. That, they say, does not change. It is permanent. It exists. If you don't recognize it, it's your issue, but it exists. Okay. Try to depend on it. By nature, it is non-dependent. There's no cause for it. Okay. it is separate from your body and mind. वो उसको कुछ लेना देना नहीं है तुम्हारा mind, वो बस देता है, लेता नहीं कुछ life में. It just throws light on whatever activities you do, whatever knowledge you want to learn, you learn, whatever emotions you want to experience it. He does not choose, he does not judge, he does not influence anything. Okay, उसको कुछ लेना देना नहीं है, वो बस है, बस देता है. It is just like light. Okay. So this is a slide which I didn't want to show, but just to give a brief. So because we, as I said, if you want to know happiness, you should know what is unhappiness also. These are some existential problems. Only few I have taken, not much. See, this is the first world's problems. Okay, these problems don't come to people jinka abhi they are still fighting on basic roti kapda makan, their basic necessities, when they are sab kuch, when we are filled with, when we have our fulfillment with basic desires like food, some kind of recognition, some kind of securities, these issues come: anxiety, fear, insecurities, meaninglessness, loneliness, stress, emptiness. So fear, why it comes, is because you're dependent on outside objects, and by nature these outside objects, you can't guarantee you happiness, because by very nature they change. By the very nature they're impermanent. Comfort, money, relationship, power, fame, talent, we bet on these things so to get overcome fear. But when you're betting on something where by very nature it gives way to all your stability, it is foolishness. So that's what they want to say. So even insecure, what are we insecure about? We are insecure about your own personality, you are insecure about your future, your past guilt, even decision making. We are insecure. Is it easy to make decisions in life? It's not so easy. It is quite difficult. They say making one wrong decision, you should repent all your life. That is how hard decision making is. Death. So even when you're in, why should we be insecure about your own self? Here self means not atman. It is here, see, when you use this word very casually, atma vishwas, ये जो आत्मविश्वास so casually means I'm not, it's not a negative thing that I'm talking. We have its importance, we know its importance. So when we use the word atma vishwas in our day-to-day context, that is self-confidence and all these self-love and all these things, we basically mean the love of your skill, the love of your money, the love of your family support. We understand this in this way. We try to bet on these things, but understand how much ever secure you are in your family, money, and skill, there is still insecurity somewhere peeping behind all these kinds of securities. Okay, because these are by nature impermanent. Future, this is very easily understandable. How much ever you say you have your money, wife, and skill, can you guarantee that your future will be tremendously secure? You see war-torn zones, you see how economies are falling. Understanding this, that is right now, even in the most advanced state of socio-economic policies, we fight like cats and dogs. Past guilt, also we are insecure about. We have done something and we feel sorry for it, and we want to make it wrong. Some things which consciously or unconsciously may have done. What are the answers to such your doings in the past? Okay, decision making, self-explanatory. Death also self-explanatory. We are insecure about it because we don't understand it, and that is why anything that we don't understand, we are afraid, we are insecure. So only we understand these things, will be slowly able to get out of this. When we start depending on something which we experience, what the Shastras say, we will be able to come out of these things. And meaninglessness, loneliness, stress. Stress here is not the normal stress. It is something called as neurasthenia. That is a stress as you live through life. Okay, you're like uh, we are continuously trying to search for happiness. That itself tires us. Okay, we are trying to search happiness in some kind of skills, then some wife and children, then there are securities there. All this itself causes stress in our life. Then some emptiness, unfulfillment we are trying to fulfill through relationships, we are trying to fulfill through money, we are trying to fulfill so many things are there. That is why we always want to keep ourselves busy. Nobody wants to sit quiet even for a few hours. They always want to keep themselves busy. Okay, loneliness also is a very existential problem. If everybody loves you, you are not satisfied. You also need to love something. You go get a dog, a cat, and you say you love it more than everything. You post it in our social media channels. So uh, why we are so lonely is because we are alienated from your real nature. Okay, you're trying to seek that fulfillment in relationships, but how much ever you're trying to seek it, it is still not. It is um, like an quenchless ocean, thirst. It is that loneliness is you are never able to quench it, how much ever you are trying to do it from relationships. Okay, meaninglessness, we had discussed about it. It deals with work. It's midlife crisis. When you do something which you don't like, you start feeling meaningless. So everybody cannot do what they like. Everybody is not so fortunate. Few professionals are there, like people, singers, painters. Maybe they may be not feeling loneliness, but most of us do feel this. We take the money, and with that money we experience happiness, but with work itself we are not able to experience happiness. So best thing is do what you love, but that is not a practical thing, because we have enough commitments, we have loans, so many things are there. We are age is not there, age factor comes into picture, many things are there. So what is the answer for that? So only when you start getting that happiness from a perennial source, that is your consciousness, your spirit, this happiness you get or don't get, it does not matter so much for you. It is like you have got the diamonds, you don't care for your classmates. So that is why you work for work's sake. You don't care about uh, exploiting happiness from your work. It is just okay, Baba. I am a bladder. I'll be a bladder. It does not matter, because I know by nature I am spirit. Okay. Here the idea is not to be the creator. Here the idea is to become the cause of creation itself, consciousness itself. Okay. It is like saying Sri Ramakrishna says that the clay rat, his so-called goal is not to become the clay elephant, something a bigger a person, a strong person, a fearless person, a person full of security. Here the goal is to become clay itself. I hope you get this analogy. Okay, so till now I just gave you a very short, there's many things that we can get into, but I give you a very brief description of the fundamental concepts of spirit, because I don't want us to start from some vague understanding or a confused understanding between us both. Okay, so with this particular foundation, now let us start making sense of all what we have studied. Let us start thinking of it. Are there any questions till now? Do you have any questions, or shall I continue?
Sir, last thing you said, I didn't understand correctly.
Yeah, tell me what I said.
That's I couldn't able to hear properly.
Nothing. I said till now, I've given you some very fundamental concepts of spirituality, so that when we go forward, we are not confused on some very fundamental concepts, which are the base to understand happiness. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So do you want me to stop here or shall I continue? You have any questions or shall I continue with the first law?
Can continue, sir.
Okay. So the first 5 laws are there. The first law is all beings, you and me, animals, trees, all beings that exist, that we can experience in our day-to-day life, exist at different levels of consciousness. And for every level of consciousness, there is a definite and fixed degree of happiness. What does this word, how do we understand consciousness? As I said, we are always conscious of something. We are not conscious of consciousness itself. You are not conscious of spirit, the nature of the spirit. Okay? So your level of consciousness is what are you conscious of? That's all. Nothing so deep and mysterious or difficult in it. So right now you're conscious of the happiness of your wife. Right now you're conscious of the experiences of your marriage, of your past child, of your education, of your childhood. Some people may be even conscious of their own inner emotions. So that is your level of consciousness. That is where you exist. See, आपके अंदर जो है वही आपके दिमाग में आ रहता है. See, how you and me judge are totally different. How you and me influence are different. How each one between us 27 people, everybody is choosing, judging, influencing things in a tremendously different way. Okay, some people look at me and they judge as, oh, he is a lazy person, he does not work, we provide for their existence, he just sits and eats. Some people, oh, how come he has left his family, how come he has left his mother. Some people judge, oh, it's such a nice thing, he is so devoted to higher values of life. So how each person is judging is completely dependent on your life experiences, on your past life, on your emotions. Okay, so that is the level of consciousness you are in depends completely on your so-called content, your experiences in your past life or your present life, or your understanding of this world. How you interpret this world is different. You and me are interpreting completely different. So a real estate person, when they see Ramakrishna Mutt, Hyderabad, he judges, oh my God, how come these people got such a good property in the middle of Hyderabad? Just 5 monks live there. We could have, it is a 17-acre campus, we could have built a huge complex, I could have made money. This is the level of consciousness the realistic person is in. A beautician, uh, uh, a designer who may be watching this, then he will say, oh, if this monk had a nice beard, he would look more authentic. If he had worn a scarf, it would be a good contrast, he would look more nice. If he had long hair, he would look more genuine. This is how, that is the level of consciousness they are in. So a MLA, politician, when he comes here, then, oh, what are these people? Oh, they're Hindus. So I should talk something about Hinduism so that they may like me, so that I may get votes. This is the level of consciousness they are in. I hope you're able to understand what I mean by level of consciousness. Okay. Everybody is in different levels of consciousness. According to that level of consciousness, we experience things. And at every level of consciousness, there's a fixed degree of happiness. How much ever you try to squeeze happiness from that particular degree, you're not going to get out. You change the work, you change the circumstances, you change anything. Don't ever think that you'll get something more out of it. I'll explain it diagrammatically. Before that, again, a little bit of further explanation. Through deep reflection and direct experience, our saints have discovered some important truths about existence, consciousness, and happiness. Okay? Some of this we have codified as laws. They are not hard and fast rules. They are just observations. Okay. So existence, we exist. We are conscious of something. And according to what you're conscious of, your happiness is fixed. As simple as that. So in the Taittiriya Upanishad describes human personality as constituted by 5 koshas or sheaths or chambers. I think you have read about this. So basically, even if you divided it to physical body, mental body, and spiritual body. That's good enough. But just for further explanation, so that we may become more definite, it is divided into 5 koshas. Okay? 5 koshas means you can say there are 5 straight jackets or 5 layers. Okay? So Annamaya kosha, that is your physical layer. Pranamaya kosha, your vital energy level. Your Manomaya kosha, your mental level, your thinking, etc. Vijnanamaya kosha, the sheath of intuition, the sheath of higher consciousness. Anandamaya kosha, the sheath of bliss. So don't think that they are layers, because layers came from Shankaracharya because he wanted us to go, don't get stuck in a particular layer. Okay, but actually they were called in Upanishad Annamaya Atma itself, they called them. Pranamaya Atma itself they called. Manomaya Atma, Vijnanamaya Atma, Anandamaya Atma. They used to call them as a particular level of consciousness itself. Annamaya has its own functions, its own laws, its own experience of happiness. It's a complete like entity by itself. That is the importance they gave to your physical body itself. Okay. But because this layers came when by Shankaracharya, just so that what had happened is we were satisfied with that. I'm okay. I have a nice body. People praise me. I have a nice health. I'm happy. They were stagnated. So that is why, to give a jolt, he removed the word Atma and replaced it. Is an unfortunate replacement, but intention was not bad. Intention was to transcend. Intention was to go up. Okay. So according to Vedanta, the third point, the ultimate reality of Brahman is of the nature of absolute existence, consciousness, bliss. So by nature it exists. It does not need any of our proof or validity for its existence. It exists. Hey, you don't know it. That's our problem. Consciousness, it is just light. It is consciousness. You borrow that consciousness to experience this beautiful world. By nature, it is bliss. Okay, it's a blissful entity. Don't think it does not exist or something like that. It is void, shunya. It is not Buddhist understanding of consciousness. It is Vedantic understanding of consciousness. Consciousness is a very vital, vibrating entity. Non-vibrating, but it is an existential entity. Okay, Hevo. And the true self of man, that is your real core, is identical with it. Okay, that is why those 4 Mahavakyas, you are that you are, your nature is Atma, all these things. Each kosha or sheath represents a plane of existence and consciousness through which the supreme bliss of Brahman filters down, giving rise to the joy of experience appropriate to each level of existence or each level of kosha. So that light, as we have seen the manifestation of consciousness in that first slide, where the light of consciousness shined through your entire body and mind, similarly, the light within is shining through every experience of ours. Okay, every experience of ours, it is shining through, and according to what you identify it yourself with, you're experiencing that particular level of happiness. It is fixed. We'll get into a little more detail. So I consciousness may get identified with any of these sheets, and it is this identification that determines a person's character, temperament, and the level of consciousness he exists in. So when I say I am just this physical body, only you will be able to experience happiness that is limited to physical body. You will not be able to experience the happiness by reading, by serving, by lower emotion, by lower devotion. You will not be able to experience. You can't say that. See, if you have never become a research scientist, can you experience the happiness of a research scientist? What do you think? The answer is yes or no. Suppose you have never served anybody selflessly. You always served with a kind of expectation. Can you experience the happiness of selfless service? No. Good. So similarly, if you have never gone to a temple and participated in a bhajan, did some nitya karma, did some everyday devotion, Can you experience that happiness of that particular level of lower forms of devotion? You can't. But if you have experienced sex, sleep, food, drugs, don't think that drugs means it's a negative thing. Yeah? It's just a fact. Okay, it's the same thing. So you are easily, you will be able to identify that particular level of happiness, and many people are satisfied with that particular level of consciousness. Nothing wrong in it. Okay, so uh, we can't force anybody to say that, oh Baba, that is not fulfilling. Why not? You can't push anybody to higher levels of consciousness. They're satisfied there, good enough, nothing wrong in with it. See, can you force a child to tell stop playing with dolls, start playing with books or start reading books? You'll experience higher levels of consciousness, high happiness. You can't force the child. It will naturally, over time, it will let go of the dolls and take up some higher forms of happiness, like play, like friendship, like service or research work or whatever it loves to do. It naturally does that. 1 second, I'll come back. Yes, sorry for the interruption. So you can't force anybody to raise to the next level of happiness. If they're comfortable, good enough. Okay. So when you start identifying, so when you say I'm just this body, so you'll be stuck to that particular level of happiness, limited to that particular level of happiness. You'll be only experience happiness from food, sleep, sex, objects of the outside world. Okay. When you tell that, oh, now I am a research scientist, I am a player, I am a husband, I am a brother, I am a artist, musician. So you'll be able to experience higher and higher forms of happiness because now you start identifying with the Annamaya, with a mental level, Manomaya. I am a mental being, you say. So the happiness that a research scientist experiences is naturally higher than the experience of how do I judge this, that this is higher, this is lower? How do you think we should judge it? I've told this answer many times, but just to let it come from you, like how do you judge that this particular level of happiness is higher than physical happiness? Mental happiness is higher than physical happiness. Can you give me an answer? How do we judge? How do we know?
Higher realized person.
Depends on our level of consciousness.
What?
Depends on where we are, our level of consciousness.
No.
From a higher realized souls, or
I mean,
No.
depends upon, the pleasure levels of the pleasure.
Yeah, like try to put it in the right way. Very simple. It's more permanent than the lower level of consciousness. Okay. And it's less dependent on the lower levels of consciousness. Here you need so many things, external things, but mental, the skill, you just need the skill. You don't need the object, right? So it is less dependent on consciousness or each levels of existence itself. Okay. Were you able to understand this? How to judge?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So coming to this diagram, I'll stop with this diagram. So diagrammatically, how do we understand all these things? Just 1 second. Again, sorry for the interruption. So let me stop with this diagram. So you are able to see two concentric circles. Let us understand the left hand side concentric circle as an individual being, personality, you and me. The right side is the cosmic, its cosmic counterpart. Okay, so one is microcosm, one is macrocosm. So it is like body, and what does the body depend on? It depends on, it's called Bahya Akasha. There are three Akashas, three spaces. You can understand it like this also. One is a physical space where all your physical entities are there, all your anything that you experience from your five perceptions that you see, nama rupa, aap jo bhi dekhte hai, aap jo bhi sunte hai, all this plants, animals, natural resources, your world, your galaxies and all. Bahya Akasha, okay, it's a cosmic counterpart of your body. It is like both are physical, that is why. Then there is mental, there is a cosmic a counterpart of your mind also. We are all part of this cosmic mind, okay? All the laws, the ideas, all this, the blueprint already exists, okay? All we have to be is open to that and we can receive it, okay? And there is a spiritual counterpart of your Atma also. Don't think that we are some separate entities. It's like we are pots dipped in ocean, okay? This pot, stop identifying with the pot, but the water inside the pot and the water outside the pot, that is the ocean, is the same. So the cosmic counterpart of your spirit is the so-called Brahman or Paramatman. You may use any word, okay? Just so that we are starting as from base level, we have these divisions, but as you experience this, you slowly start understanding all these boundaries start disappearing, okay? You'll just become one non-dual awareness, existence, consciousness plus absolute. That is the goal, but we can't jump into such conclusions because we have not experienced them. We need to start from what we know and slowly go forward to the unknown. So Vishwa, or we are called Vaishvanara, is the material and vital, is your physical body, is your pranic body, your energy body, your blood circulation, metabolism, Krebs cycle, all this this energy, autonomous nervous system, all this is your material and vital body. It's called Vishwa in Sanskrit. The cosmic counterpart is Virat, is a material and vital, all the beautiful so-called, you will see this creation, how it works, that electrons revolving around the nucleus, all this energy that we may not see it very casually. We see only one part. We just see one part. Okay, the river is going, but we don't see the invisible river, the evaporation happening and going to the clouds. The different river that exists, we are not able to see the revolutions of the earth, rotations of the earth. We don't see these things, but they exist. There is energy in this world. True. So this is called Virat. Okay. So then there's Taijasa, your mental, what all your ideas, your content, your past life, your all your so-called impulses, emotions. Okay, all this is your ideas, concepts, is your mental being. Okay, it's also called as Manomaya Kosha. Then the cosmic counterpart is there for Hiranyagarbha, that is a mental counterpart. All these ideas do exist. It's not that you also have seen, me also have seen, I also have seen apple falling from the tree. But why did only Einstein come to the conclusion that gravity exists? Why you and me could not recognize it? What do you think is the answer?
Kept on thinking about it. You wanted
Okay.
an answer to find to it.
Due to the
Yes.
Maya,
Due to the
Maya,
no.
we cannot recognize.
True. Why? So he had kept his mind open to that particular level of consciousness. He had got enough a perceptive mass linking fact, so that when this particular fact happened, he could link the cause for it. Okay. But do you think if he was a doctor, could he recognize the apple falling is due to the gravitational force?
May not be.
Maybe.
So yes, the answer is no, because the apperceptive mass, the experiences that helped him link to this particular conclusion, he would not have. But a doctor has recognized the laws in anatomical body, which a normal scientist couldn't recognize it. So it works like that. You need to open yourself. Automatically, such knowledge directly comes to you. It happens. Okay. So that is why you can see the good people becoming better and better, the bad people becoming worse and worse, because you are living at that particular level. It is like resonance. You start attracting such thoughts. Okay. So prajna is your spiritual inner spiritual entity, individual entity. Left hand side is the individual entity. Similarly, Ishvara is your spiritual counterpart. Okay. The different words are there. I'm just giving you very technical words. So now coming to the first level, that is your Annamaya Kosha or material level. Okay. So Annamaya Kosha is your physical body. Okay. Is your physical body. So there is always give and take happening between this human body and the world outside. You and nature, there is always some kind of interaction happening, whether you know it or you don't know it. It happens. It is like you give it carbon dioxide, it takes carbon dioxide. You take oxygen from it. It gives you energy. Sun gives you energy. It is sacrificing for yourself. In fact, you should know that sun is getting smaller by 0.1% every year. Okay. So don't think that somebody had said it is a perennial source. It's not a perennial source of energy. It all stars do die. There is a fixed amount of time that they exist in this so-called creation. So it is giving you something, and we are also giving it back something. Okay, there is always give and take. See, suppose you want holistic, suppose what in Annamaya level, in material level, what are you taking from this outside world? It is giving you food. You're taking food from outside. From where are you taking food? From outside itself, you're taking food, and you are giving back work. You are converting it to work and giving it back. So there is this constant transaction that is happening. Spiritual life is just being aware of it and doing it consciously. Okay. So sleep, sex, power, all these things from outside only you are getting it. You're not getting it from inside. Sleep also, if you say, no, how come sleep is from outside? Sleep, of course, like if somebody is disturbing you, if you are sick, if the temperature is too high, too low, so many factors are there to get a good sleep. Yes. So all these things you are taking from outside. Okay. So this Annamaya level is basically what you can see with your physical eyes, what you can experience with your five senses. Okay. So what is the sukha that you experience? The sukha is called Vishya Sukha. This we had discussed in that levels of happiness chart. That is the happiness of sense pleasure. Okay. So here, as the first law states, every level of existence that you are in, or consciousness that you are in, has a fixed level of happiness. See, suppose you say, no, I'll sleep 2 days, I'll get more happiness. Do you get more happiness if you sleep 2 days? What do you think?
No.
It is fixed. Sleep gives you this much. Oh, a poor man, because he's poor, the happiness that he gets from sleep is lesser than me because I'm rich. Does it work like that? No. Food. If he eats Chinese dish and you eat Chinese dish because you are rich or because you are privileged or because you are super poor, is the level of happiness that you experience is different? Food gives only this much happiness. You can't, whatever you try to squeeze the food to whatever minutest extent or try to fry it in the best of oils, The happiness that you experience from so-called food is that much only, it's limited. Sex, similar. Power also, don't think that the happiness that Indian politician experiences and an American politician experiences is more, or Indian businessman experiences more than what it is the same. Okay, it's not that a doctor experiences more happiness than okay, that comes to the mental level. But anyhow, let us just understand it with physical objects. It is fixed. Okay, you can't do anything. Then next comes how to experience it by holistic health. Okay, this is just a fact that I put in extra, but it has nothing to do with the law. As I told you, law is just saying that every level of existence has a fixed level of happiness. Okay, that's all it is saying. So how to experience this so-called perfect homeostasis or equilibrium in that particular Annamaya level? If you have good holistic health, you'll be able to experience Vishya Sukha to the best of its limitation. Okay, you'll be in the optimal top game. Okay, if you have holistic health. So what does that mean? How you experience Annamaya, you experience in Vishaya Sukha, Annamaya level of happiness, you experience in wonderful health, in beauty, skills in sports, play, all these things. This is how it manifests. The happiness manifests in these ways. Okay, so I think the time is up. We'll discuss the next levels of happiness in the next class, and we'll try to finish all the 5 laws of happiness. Okay, thank you. Namaste. So I'll stop here.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for such an elaborate and easy to understand at the layman's level. I can say you are taken from LKG level to maybe school level completed, still we are not graduated. And I, for one, so happy here with the souls here. Thanks to Dr. Lakshmi for bringing you here. In fact, when I started taking some sessions here, I've been telling in the beginning, all were talking about only the Western or this and only Anapanasati meditation. Beyond that, we were not going. So I said, all these people from where they are getting it. Let us go back like that. So from bits and pieces, I was putting about Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Adi Shankaracharya, and always my first thought, my Manasika Guru is Swami Vivekananda. Each soul is potentially divine. Our goal is to manifest divinity. How? By controlling your nature, internal and external. Now you have explained very clearly what is this internal nature and external nature. Trigunas all. Now, though you are talking about just happiness, but how subtle it is and how vast it is.
Yes.
Consciously, we started understanding, and wonderful. And you being from the monastery, again, I used to say sannyasi, it doesn't mean that only wearing kashaya vesha. Udara nimittam bahurda vesham, as Shankaracharya said, that is also happening around. But you being from the monastic order and explaining that we say, right from the horse mouth, like that. So people will have the authenticity. Whenever I've been talking, I don't know how many people and how they have taken, etc. Little bit what I learned from various masters. That's all. So really, this is how again I feel maybe universe makes it happen, and we are all only nimitta matra, like Lakshmi and so spiritual tablet, all this forum itself. I'm really happy. And you being from the order of monks, and you are still going through that. And from the middle, you have come like a scientist here, spiritual scientist. So this itself, we are all blessed. And I'm sure everyone here will be happy. And as you said, today's class, level of happiness. When I was saying today is the third session you are taking, see the number. Each one what they will do because of our nature. Some are priority changed. Some are here who are not there. Some new are there. Some have already left because of some other. We will say we have commitments. So who will not have commitment? So again, our level of consciousness probably is my understanding, and you explained everything so clearly. Thank you very much. And I look forward you to come again and again. One more session tomorrow is there, but I am sure you are not going to stop. Please do come to this forum again and again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshmi.
Thank you, Parmeshwar sir. Lot of questions.
We can't hear you, Lakshmi.
Yeah, I meant to say thank you, Parmeshwar sir, and thank you all masters, and of course, Chaitanya Maharaj. Yeah, it is my own queries, my own doubts, right? Each individual consciousness has their own question level, but we all are experiencing that itself. As a layman, I would take it is to experience and expand to a higher source and one day become the source itself. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, masters, and thank you, Chaitanya Maharaj. It adds to a lot of clarity. And my very question was like, do we experience, unless we are satisfied with a lower level of consciousness, can we jump to the higher, or level of consciousness jumps without the lower conscious level is being experienced?
Yes, the answer is that is the goal. So we need to rise to the next level of consciousness. That is how we need to hope, and that is how we need to understand spirituality. See, spirituality is nothing but series of awakenings. When you start understanding and become equilibrium or harmony with Annamaya, then only we'll be able to go to the next level. Without harmony, without homeostasis, without the right environment, understanding its laws, its nature, its functions, it is not easy to jump to the next level. There are no quantum jumps like that. But after satisfying understanding and letting go, then only it is easy to come to the next level. It is not just like I wish I can jump. It does not work like that. You need to uh, resolve it and then go to the next level.
Thank you. Thank you. That's where very clearly spiritual tablets. That's what Jiki sir. I feel he's simplified so much to a level wherein the meditation, then the books, and then Sajjana Sangatya. We very need to have that to hold ourselves, because still we are the only source. We need that light sometimes, and we need to be light for some time.
Yes.
Thank you, masters. If anyone else has their own
Yeah.
queries, yeah, good to go.
So Ravi here. Thank you, Chaitanya sir. It's my privilege to be part of your session. Our beloved Guru Parameswaran sir, articulated really well. So my understanding from this session is, you need to be conscious of your consciousness always. And, as Lakshmi ma'am is saying that, you have so much inside you, rather than trying to beat the bush around you and trying to compare yourself from, for a lot of other people and trying to measure yourselves for against so many things. You try to figure it out, what you like and what you want to do and focus on those things, not being worried about what others are thinking, what others are achieving, and that kind of stuff.
Definitely. Definitely. You need to be selfish.
Yeah,
You need
selfish. Yeah, so selfish
But it's not
without
that-
being
yes.
compared to
Can't say
anyone
that's the
else or
right
anything
word,
else.
but first you need to resolve your issues before resolving other people's issues.
Right. And don't feel sorry for yourself if you're not, achieving
See,
something or
it is
something.
like
It's just what.
how any disease spreads. If you have cold spreads in your house. If somebody is sad, sick, that sickness atmosphere spreads. Similarly, if you are calm, if you are awakened, that awakening, that spirituality also spreads in your house. So first invest in that, get something, then you can give. Before getting, when you start giving, it is just vanity.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Beautiful session. And, this is a part of our soul plan that you came to this platform. So very excited and hope to hear more from you. Thank you, sir.
Definitely. Thank you.
There are no more hand raises. Thank you, Chaitanya Maharaj. Yeah, thank you, masters. Maybe 5 minutes meditation. Kindly close your eyes, clasp your hands, cross your legs. Any spectacles, please remove them, they're not needed. Now relax your mind, body, your heart, and your intellect. Kindly relax everything. As every source tells, we have seen long way this year, either through books, either through our master sharing, either through materialistic world, either through spiritual language, or whether it is Vedanta or Western world, everything is meaning consciousness, just being. So let us connect through our breath to this consciousness. Let us try to connect the inner consciousness, which everyone has their own. Just be with your breath, masters. Your breath is the only guru. It will lead you to the right path, though path may be different, but it will lead to eternal consciousness or Atman or the source, whatever word you may use, but it is going to take you to the same eternity. So let us connect to our breath. Just observe the beautiful effortless air going.
Speak a little louder.
Let us go into the effortless movement of this air from your every cell of your body. Doesn't mean that your body is very that every cell is different. Beautiful. No more words. Slowly, masters, come to this physical body. Slowly connect back to every part of your body. Feel every part of your body.
Speak a little louder. Can't hear.
Get back to your physical body. Get back to your parts of your body. Rub your palms. Place it on your eyes. Mm, If you are ready, you can open your eyes slowly. If not, please continue. Just to understand if you have a disturbance in the outer world, every time try to connect with your breath because disturbance is within you, not outside. Whole day observe masters. If anything agitates you outside, just connect to your breath, observe your breath, see where the disturbance lies. Is it at body level? Is it at mental level? Is it at intellect level? Is it at soul level? So observation and connecting to your breath will help us understand the external world through our observation and internal world. And that's how we resolve and move from lower consciousness to higher consciousness. Thank you, masters. Thank you, who connected, wasted this time, made good energies for each individual here. Thank you for this beautiful platform, beautiful tablet. I thank my Guru, Sir, Part3, and entire soul family. You all may help me in this evolution. I thank today's master, Chaitanya. Slowly you can open your eyes, master. Thank you. Let's stop the recording.